me, Alexa, and today we're going to be talking about the 2010 Telugu film Darling. This film is directed by A. Karunakaran and it stars Prabhas as well as Kajol Agarwal. Thank you to our patrons on Patreon for voting for this movie. I did really enjoy it, and we'll get into why momentarily. If you want to be a part of voting for some of our future reviews, you can go ahead and join us on Patreon. Links in the description below. All of our tiers have access to the polls, so feel free to take a look. So the story of Darling, of course, is about Prabhas' character and Kajol Agarwal and the slow romance they build. They have both their fathers were in this group of best friends from college, so they knew each other when they were little, but Kajol's character, Narhini, who moved away to Switzerland when they were very young, so they hadn't seen each other in a very long time, so whenever they're finally reunited, it's like a nice little, then, back and forth romance, and you get to learn about how they, because Prabhas has been in love with her his entire life, and so you get to see him trying to get her to fall back in love with him and the nice little romance that ensues from there. Why did I like this movie? So this is just kind of a very sweet romantic comedy. There's nothing too crazy that happens. It has a well-written story. Everything plays out. I appreciate they have a few times where they'll have a little small thing happen, and then it turns out that has a bigger impact slightly later on in the story, and they do a callback to it, and I really appreciate whenever a film is able to do that, set things up so they have the payoff later on that you maybe don't think are that important. And some films do that really spectacularly. I mean, there's a million of those in Super Deluxe that I watched just recently, but this film had a couple of those as well. You don't often see those in more this wasn't really necessarily Moss, because it was kind of Moss, but I don't know. It was a little commercial, but rom-com commercial. It's different than the more typical commercial formula, because there's less fighting pretty much. They had a really well executed intermission plot twist. I did not see it coming at all until a moment before it happened. I appreciate whenever that happens, and I did like it. It did make some parts feel a little less significant, but how they played off of it I think worked extremely well. The only thing that I kind of had a problem with that made the first and second half of the film quite similar in the sense of the arc that happens throughout it. There's of course a lot of differences, but it has a lot of similarities in how that arc kind of flowed through. This is definitely gonna be my quickest review, because it was a very simple movie. It had a lot of really cool things about it that they did, and they utilized Prabhas' acting in his extremely tall stature. Forget how tall he is sometimes, and then at his opening intro shot where it's over his shoulders, he just he has such a big presence about him. You can definitely see why he plays the big action guys. But he also does a spectacular job with these romantic. He has such a sweet smile about him, and such a, because I mean, I've watched a couple interviews with him, and he's very quiet and reserved, and I think that comes through in his romantic comedies a bit. This is kind of the film that gave Prabhas one of his more iconic nicknames, Darling Prabhas, and I can see exactly why. You can see he just kind of has that sweetness to him. He's a very shy and just kind person, and he's really able to emphasize that in his rom-coms, while also being a more outgoing character who's maybe a bit pushier than he would be in real life. I don't know though exactly how he is in real life. The cinematography for the film was also very simple. There was not too many shots where I was oh, that's really good, but there were also none that felt out of place, so I don't have an issue with that at all. I think they did very standard, well shot, showed everything you needed to see, and did it well. No complaints. The score was done by G.V. Prakash Kumar, who also did the score for Teri, the Telepathy Vijay movie that I reviewed a little bit ago. Teri, as I discussed in the review, I overall liked the score, but there's a few moments where it's just a little too overdramatic, and I think that it did have the same issue in this movie. But it was less often did I notice it. There wasn't as many moments where I was well, that's a lot of place. There's one conversation between Prabhas and Kajol where it had this really nice music, and then every time, occasionally whenever they'd cut to Prabhas, they'd add this dun-dun-dun-dun to it, and I was whoa, we don't need that in this scene. But that was really the only one that stuck out hugely to me. Besides that, I think that the score was overall pretty well done, but it did just have a few moments like that throughout that were just a little, just slightly the wrong tone for the scene. That's what it was. Nothing too terrible, as I said, but just a couple little quick moments where I was that doesn't quite fit. overall, just really a cute film. It made me smile multiple times. I laughed a couple times as well. No like huge guffaws or anything, but some nice little small chuckles and smiles. And just a lot of sweet moments, and a lot of that comes from, I think, the very well-written script and story, as well as Prabhas's wonderful acting. Kajol also had a few moments. She cried in one scene, though, and she's not great at fake crying. She's very beautiful, and she does some scenes extremely well, but she's not good at fake crying on screen, from what I've seen so far. I've seen her in quite a few movies at this point, but I've yet to see a convincing cry, which is fair. Crying on command is not an easy feat, but that's just something I've noticed. Besides that, though, I think she did a fine job. Her and Prabhas playing off each other. They have really great chemistry on screen, and you know, you're invested in their little romance throughout the movie, and that's really all you need from a rom-com, is for you to want them to end up together, and I definitely wanted them to end up together, so very well done. Also, just while we're here, I don't know if you guys noticed, but in my recent reviews, I've been kind of trying to do a different formula where they're a bit quicker. This involves me not talking about spoilers unless there's something very specific that I want to discuss, as well as just kind of giving a more general overview instead of going into specific details all throughout. If there's ever a movie where I feel like I need to do that, maybe I will in the future, but for right now, I'm really focusing on trying to make reviews like this where I can do them a bit faster and also do a lot more of them, and they're also more easily digestible for you guys and also people who have not seen the film and are maybe looking to try and see if they should watch it. So that's the reason why my reviews maybe seem a little bit different recently. So if you haven't noticed, cool, but if you have, that's why. But yeah, I'm really enjoying making reviews, and I'm enjoying this format of it a lot better. It's a lot easier for me to create on all aspects, so yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I'm definitely looking forward to making more and more reviews. Alright, so now, time for that shark rating. So, as I said, this was a really just well done film. It's very simple, to the point, but there wasn't anything too spectacular about it. There was nothing that really made it stand out as being like it's exceptional in any way, shape, or form. It was very well done and very good, and I enjoyed it, but just nothing that kind of amplified it, you know what I mean? So that's why this movie will be in Hammerhead Shark. So, very good rating, good movie, liked it, but just not quite into those top tier categories. But I did really enjoy it. Alright, so that's all I have to say about Darling. Thank you all so much for watching. Please leave all of your thoughts down in the comments below. I'll be going through replying to them. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to hit that like button, subscribe, and check out our Patreon, link in the description below. Alrighty, thank you all again so much for watching, and I hope that you are staying safe out there and have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!